Good evening and welcome to Eurosport's continuing coverage of the European Rally Championship. This again is our rally magazine, the championship having already been decided in favour of Germans Erwin Weber and Manfred Hiemer for Mitsubishi. Nonetheless, there's a lot of interesting events in the championship. One of them, which we're looking at tonight, is the CYPRUS Rallye, which has the highest coefficient available, coefficient 20. That means the winner can take home 400 points, and there's no doubt this is the right amount for the CYPRUS Rallye because it's the hardest in the European Championship. Regarding its difficulties, it's best compared probably with the Acropolis Rally of Greece. Insiders saying that the CYPRUS is even more demanding than that. With number one, Alessandro Fiorio, and co-driver Vittorio Brambilla just about to roll onto the ramp in their Astra Team Lancia Delta Integrale. This is the man who's son of the former Ferrari and Lancia team manager Cesare Fiorio. Up onto the ramp he goes. And for this year, the Rothmans CYPRUS Rallye is taking place for the 20th time. First one was in 1970. It missed 2 years because of the oil crisis in the 1970s. But basically, it's been going non-stop since 1920. This year's over 955 kilometers with 387 of those special stages. A lot of famous figures here on the start ramp. Stig Blomqvist is a pass winner, Shaker Mater, Roger Clark, Ari Vatanen, Vaughan Voldergaard, all pass winners. Here in fact is Shaker Mater of Kenya, and here's Simo Lappinen of Finland. So as we've already said, Alex Fiorio is the favourite at number one, the 27-year-old Italian. Aware though that this rally is not going to be any sort of walkover, despite him probably having the best equipment.
Very hard rally. It's kind of like a Acropolis rally. But here it's very twisty and some stages are very, very long. I read the time from last year, some stage also it's about 40 minutes on stage.
The majority of drivers on the entry list are of course Cypriots, but to be more exact, Greek Cypriots, because the island is divided into Greek and Turkish parts still, and Nicosia remains a divided city. The United Nations keeps watch that the Greeks and Turks don't come into conflict with each other. Nonetheless, still a lot of tourism in the Greek part, especially in Paphos, Limassol and Larnaca, situated on the coast. But there's also the Troodos Mountains, which go up to 2,000 meters. CYPRUS is really an old cultural landscape where everyone goes, one finds the past, but this is the present. This is the rally. Number two at the start is the winner of last year's events, Antonis Giropoulos. He's in the Mitsubishi Galant VR4.
The foreign entries that we don't know them, but we must assume that they are very good because Fiorio, for instance, is a professional. So he has a works car and he has experience in world rallying. And we don't have such experience.
So the current Cypriot champion, Giropoulos. So number three is Dimi Mavrilopoulos, entered by Mobil in the ex-Works Ford Sierra Cosworth. Probably the most experienced driver in the field. This is his 18th CYPRUS Rally. He won in 1990.
Yes, I have two good competitors, and one on my behind me, the Polish guy. He is very good in the European Championship. I will be very, very happy to be in the first three.
Poland's Marian Bubulwitz, we've seen a lot of this year in the European Championship. He's starting at number 4. He at present is lying second in the European Championship and wants to consolidate that position. Weber already having won it. He's driving his Ford Sierra Cosworth 4x4 with not quite so much power, of course, as the ex-factory car of Mavrilopoulos. Special attention for British viewers, this is the number 8 entry, the little Opel Astra GSI, Britain's Dave Metcalfe and co-driver Ian Grindrod, who already run the CYPRUS Rally in 1983 with Jimmy McRae. Only 2 wheels, but still a very powerful car. Many don't think Metcalfe's going to make it, but he knows all about this rally. So to special stage 1 and straight into the action. Fioro not giving anything away at all. Right from the start, he shows he's determined to seize control of the Cyprus Rally. In fact, in the Astra team, Lancia, he breaks the record for the first stage, the one held by Kenneth Eriksson, by 20 seconds. And this is in spite of a burst tyre just before the finish. Giropoulos is second fastest on this 17.8 kilometre stage. Here he is in the Mitsubishi Galant VR4, the Cypriot champion. Still 3 seconds below the record of Eriksson though. Dimi Mavropoulos, he wants to do the same. This is the Cypriot multi-millionaire who's driving in a very restrained manner at the beginning. He's only 6th on the first special stage, a lot of problems, no more brakes, and 6 kilometers before the finish line. He can only get into first gear by using 4th, which on some of these tight hillside turns is a great handicap. Bubulwitz driving very quickly indeed. The pole makes 3rd best time. But after the first stage, he is going to have to change damaged front suspension on his car. This is Panagotopoulos, the Cypriot in the Group N Subaru Legacy. He's going there for Group N honours, but he's got problems right from the start. He can only use 1st and 3rd gears in his Group N car, and he'll only be able to change the gearbox at the end of the first leg tonight in Paphos. The Group N favourite drops way back down, but bad luck for this man as well. Andreas Lofotus, who in his Lancia Delta Integrale Group N is getting caught in the dust behind that very slow-going Panagotopoulos. Just to cut down his speed a lot, he loses a lot of time. Very bad luck indeed there for Soloftus. Var Terzan, who's winner of 1981, he's in his Group N Toyota Celica, 5th quickest on stage 1. And a surprise, 4th quickest, Dave Metcalf, the Briton, only 37 seconds slower than Fiorio. It's a real joy seeing how the Briton treats the Opel Corsa. But here's the question, how is the car going to stand up to this treatment? Please rejoin us after the break and we'll find out. Welcome back to Eurosport's coverage of the Cyprus Rally, the second part of our report tonight. This is the first of 4 legs in this enormously hard event, which has got 5 special stages with a length of over 100 kilometers. Alex Fiorio is continuing to extend his lead in the Lancia Delta Integrale, and he wins all the special stages of this leg. He's also the only one who hasn't had any technical problems, apart from a problem on the second special stage in a corner. No misfortune has befallen him. Giropoulos, start number 2, not so lucky. He has the same time as Fiorio on the second special stage, but then the power steering fails, then the engine overheats, and finally the clutch thrust bearing breaks. Nevertheless, he stays in second place, but in Paphos, the leg finish, a big service is going to be very necessary. Dimi Mavropoulos hasn't got it so bad compared with his compatriot Giropoulos. The only problems he's got in the X-Works Ford Sierra are that the brakes aren't really working very well, and the handbrake fails as well, which is a big handicap when there's such a lot of hairpins here. Nevertheless, the old warehouse, as he calls himself, succeeds in pushing himself forward into the 3rd place. 4th place on this leg establishes Poland's Marian Bubulwitz. His only problem being a failed shock absorber on the Cosworth. No other problems at all. Very well disciplined spectators here in Cyprus. Everyone wants to have the best look, but even this pales into insignificance against the Portuguese and Italians. That's when Dave Metcalf comes rushing through, and the crowd just love this man. What a performance Metcalf's putting up. He's the hero of the rally at the moment to all these spectators. Just 2-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, throwing that little Opel all around the island. Shows you don't have to have 400 horsepower and four-wheel drive. And in fact, the top of Group N after the first leg is Van Tesian in the number 7 Toyota Celica. And he has a 1 second lead over this man, Menelas Melissas, who has the Subaru Legacy. And as the sun sets over the Troodos Mountains, the drivers reach the finish leg in Paphos. Here are the results. As we told you, Fiorio well in the lead, Mavropoulos, Gerolopoulos, Bubelwitz and Metcalf, an astounding 5th place against all this very sophisticated machinery. So Rothmans Cyprus Rally goes on to day 2 after a break of 6 hours. 2 o'clock in the morning, they start the leg on the leg back to Nicosia. 5 special stages, over 110 kilometers on the program, the longest 31.7 kilometers. So with a comfortable lead, Fiorio is already well ahead. Mavropoulos starts as second. He's now got his braking problems under control. In the Mitsubishi team, the repairs on the clutch at the Parc Fermé in Paphos couldn't be finished, so Geropoulos has to go into the second leg with the car only partly working. During the night there's been some important decisions, but Fiorio doesn't have any problems at all. He's starting to pull back a bit though, because he can save the car now. He's got such a big lead. Geropoulos still hasn't got the upper hand of his clutch problems, and sadly the number 2 car, the Mitsubishi Galant, has to be retired. So now Dimi Mavropoulos has got a free road ahead of him. The Ford driver makes the best times in the 2 longest stages of the night, both well below the record. There's only one defective shock absorber on the mobile, Sierra Cosworth. He's one of the more enigmatic personalities of this island. He earns his living by cultivating and exporting tropical fruits. He's a rally driver by hobby, and as a gentleman driver he doesn't think about safety too much, so short trousers and t-shirt really are much more comfortable than a fire-proof overall. Co-driver Nikos Antoniades, he has an extraordinary profession. Normally he's an airline pilot for Cypriot Airways. So the private team, everyone involved at the first light of dawn, the second leg coming to an end.
In the long 2 stage we lose something, but was very hard for the gearbox, because it was about 40 minutes of first and second. So I just went a little bit slow, and I lose into stage 1 minute, but it was not a problem because it's better lose a little bit and arrive with the car at the end.
So with gearbox problems, Mavropoulos finishes the second leg. Changing the gearbox is going to take quite a lot of time. The Ford pilot reaches the time control just before the entry to the Parc Fermé, 1 minute too late.
We have lost first gear on the last 2 stages. We were doing very well until then, and there was nothing we can do. We just changed gearbox, and we had another minute penalty coming into Parc Fermé. But I think we will be okay.
Problems also for Dave Metcalf.
We had the rear stub axle broke, which we lost the wheel, the hub and the disc, all the brakes. So we only had 3 wheels on the car for 15 Ks to the end of the stage. The problem being that when we got there, they had a stub axle and a hub to put the wheel on, but we still had no brakes. So we had to do the following stage, which was another 30 Ks, very twisty with no rear brakes.
So there are the positions after the second leg. Fiorio still well in ahead. Mavropoulos, Bubelwitz, Metcalf now 4th despite those problems, and Suloftsas and Akaleos in the Lancia coming up in Group N. So this is rain at the start of leg 3, quite unusual in Cyprus. Third leg involving 6 special stages, but not quite so long and hard as it has been in the previous 2 legs. Fiorio now well out in front, considering it's sufficient just to press on a little bit without extending the car too much. On the other hand, it's obvious that Fiorio's Lancia is very professionally prepared, absolutely suited to the sort of rough tracks that they've got here in Cyprus. So no problems at all for Alex Fiorio, the man who drove for Ford but now runs in the private Astra Lancia team. And now coming into his own in this third leg is Andreas Sulofetus. The 35-year-old Lancia driver has finally got out of the dust of the slower drivers in front of him, and his gearbox troubles are now behind him, and he's keeping his foot down. This is the way the local crowds know him, and he's giving them full value. He takes the first 3 stages today. And this is someone who never saves his material. 16 valves working overtime. And on this 11th special stage, Sulofetus overtakes Metcalf to reach 4th place. The little Opel is slowly crumbling, but certainly a lot of it's due to the way that Metcalf's driving it, just throwing the little car at the scenery in Cyprus. Already the bodywork's had to be reinforced, half shafts and tires replaced. It's gradually giving up the ghost. Marian Bubelwitz, the Pole, gets racing further and further. Recognise he's got a chance to get up to place 2, but he's got a fairly poor motor, he says. Whereas the Works Sierra has a pressure of 2.2 bar with 400 horsepower, the Pole can only manage 1.2 bar. So the Group A car is about equal to the performance level of the best Group N cars, but he's in good form and certainly throwing the Sierra no problems at all. So with just a 1.5 minute lead over his fellow Ford driver, Dimi Mavropoulos, has to get a real move on, but his Cosworth hasn't got any problems at this stage, so he has no difficulty in keeping the pole behind him. And in Group N, following the retirement of Vahartesian in his Toyota Celica, it is now Menelas Melisas in the Subaru who takes the lead with a comfortable 5 minutes ahead. Let's see how the final stage of the Cyprus Rally work out after this break.
Bende, Tessera, Ria, Rio, Lena, go!
Welcome back to Eurosport's coverage of the Rothmans Cyprus Rally. This is our third and final look tonight at the rally. This is Mark Cole bringing you all the news here from Cyprus, and just look at this, the positions fixed now, but this is Group N. Milanios Melisas now in the 14th special stage as a big lead in Group N, 5 minutes no less, but he's having problems now because he has got gearbox trouble, and his bad luck is bringing up Andreas Caligiurio here, driving a Mitsubishi Galant, and he has now got a lead of a full 9 minutes in this number 11 car. Caligiurio really throwing the Galant through these dust stages, and here again Dave Metcalf. During the 15th special stage though, he loses 4 minutes due to damage in his front suspension, and following a Pers he loses another 9 minutes on the route. Metcalf, the darling of the fans, drops back into 6th place. So as well as during the 15th special stage, Sulofetus has problems with his turbocharger. Repairs will be at the next service, but he still loses 7 minutes at the next time control. Despite this, he's still in 4th place. Yet Marian Bubelwitz and Gregor Zgak, his co-driver, have no problems with the Marlboro Sierra Cosworth 4x4. Still putting in a really respectable performance despite being slightly down on power, and they're continuing in 3rd place. Dimi Mavropoulos can finish his 3rd leg by taking 2nd place. His Ford now firmly in the run-up position, no problems for him. While Fiorio has a safe lead, just lucky to have a short stage of only 2.1 kilometers with the front suspension brake, the loss of time being of no importance at all, very rapidly fixed. There were the results of the 3rd leg, with just 1 to go on the Rothmans Cyprus Rally. Fiorio, Mavropoulos, Bubelwitz, Sulofetus and Caligiurio. Lancia, Ford, Lancia and Mitsubishi. So the last leg begins on the Saturday morning, 6 stages over 89 kilometers. These cars have had a very rough 3 days, being given one more flogging today. Off goes Fiorio. Sadly, this is the last time we're going to see Dave Metcalf because the steering rack is breaking. The mechanics succeed in repairing the car within the stage, but the time loss he's going to suffer is going to be too great. And Metcalf and Grindrod, the great British spectacle on the Cyprus Rally, will be out. This is someone we haven't seen tonight before, Josef Civic from Czechoslovakia in his Lancia. He finally reaches 6th overall place, and on the 20th stage he takes the stage win. Started off in 11th place and he's gradually pushed forward. A good performance by the Czech. Best of the Group N cars though remains as Andreas Calagiru with his co-driver Andreas Christodoulides. After Terzian and Melisas have retired, he has now got a clear road ahead, and at the finish in Nicosia he'll have a lead in Group N of over 11 minutes, thus holding place 5 overall in the overall classification. It's a good performance in his Galant. In the 4th place, this is Andreas Suloftus with his Lancia, very glad to reach the finishing line because his turbocharger again is giving trouble and doesn't want to work on this final leg. But after each service, his mechanics are telling him to go on and go on and go on, and in fact it's going to pay off. So there's no way he can challenge Marian Bubelwitz now, who's got 3rd place, clear. A big gap with his Marlboro Ford Sierra Cosworth, the pole attacking all the way until the end. His gap of 2 minutes in 2nd place is a comparatively little one, but he's the only one in the field who still had the chance to improve. No problems for the Cosworth, and in the 22nd special stage, the final one, Bubelwitz finally gets fastest time. It doesn't help against this man in the Mobile X-Works Ford Sierra Cosworth, Dimi Mavropoulos. He's got the upper hand, and there's no one who knows the Cyprus Rally better. It's only natural that he's taking it a little gently now, but he can still cope with the landscape. Shock absorber playing up a little bit, but nothing that his mechanics can't fix at the stops. So after 18 starts in this rally, 2 3rd places, 4 2nd places, and victory in 1990, he's got 2nd secured yet again. Alex Fiorio, this is the star of the rally. He's really planned this one well, an attack at the beginning in order to get a big lead, then control at the top of the field, and basically looking after the car and himself. He's been supported by a very professional team and a professionally prepared car, and over these 4 days has had no problems. So Alex Fiorio and Vittorio Brambilla, winners of the 20th Rothmans Cyprus Rally. After 955 kilometers, 387 of them being special stages, perhaps the most difficult in Europe, they're now right at the top. Fiorio considers his win in a completely pragmatic manner as good training for his next big event, the San Remo, which of course is on at this very moment.
It was good training for us for San Remo, not for setup of the car, but just physically. Because we have done all this long stage, we drive also in the night, and it was from San Remo. Then last year I didn't drive on the night.
So there's the final result of the Cyprus Rally. Fiorio, Brambilla win from Mavropoulos, Antionides, Bubelwitz and Gak, Suloftus, Achilleos, and Calagiru, Christodoulides. Lancia, Ford Lancia, Mitsubishi. So in the European Championship, Bubelwitz is able to back up his 2nd place behind Erwin Weber. 3rd is Cesar Baroni, before we get to Patrick Snars in 4th, and Andrea Ghini. Thank you for joining us on Eurosport. This has been Mark Cole. We look forward to seeing you again on our German and European Rally Championship coverage.